all guests on Keel heard via the Jack Spring Electric Keel Newsmaker hotline. Dr. Lamar Goree is the Superintendent of Caddo Parish Schools. Doc, welcome back to Keel. Thanks for taking time this morning.
Oh, thank you for always opening your doors for me. How are y'all this morning?
Good. A pleasure, sir. 51%, help me out with this. Is that 51% of parents, guardians surveyed, Caddo Parish school parents and or guardians, they want to do distance learning? Is that a legit, have I got that number right?
Right. Based on our current survey data, we are showing that the majority of our families are choosing virtual education, and we anticipated that those numbers would be high. So we certainly have been preparing and supporting a successful implementation of virtual learning.
What percentage turned in the survey?
So what I'll tell you, Aaron, is we had about, I don't know the exact percent, but about 29,000 families out of about what would be about 38,000.
Well, this basically, if this is,
okay.
if that number is, if it's more than 50% want to stay home, do virtual learning, distance learning, that sort of solves all your social distancing and attendance problems, I guess, huh?
Well, it certainly does help with social distancing when you have fewer students in the classroom. But what our main charge is to ensure that we're delivering the highest quality education in this model that's very new to us. We've spoken earlier about us learning from the spring implementation and really looking at how can we make sure that students are learning at the highest level while doing that from home.
So how are you going to make sure students are learning at the highest level while learning from home?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Robert.
Teeing it up for you, my friend. Teeing it up.
Yeah, tee it up. Yeah, one thing that we've done that we're really excited about is we've adopted a new LMS. That's jargon for Learning Management System, and it's Canvas, and it's nationally recognized, used in some of our major universities as well as some of the largest school systems in the country, and they really have mastered this dashboard type setting that manages all of the students' work for them. So teachers will be designing lessons directly into this platform this year, which will make it very easy for students in the classroom as well as those at home to access and manage their work. Also, Robert, we're providing starting the week of August 10th, and really have to stress that we need families to be engaged in some parent-student training around using of Canvas. For those students that are on campus, we're going to spend those first few weeks making sure that everyone is thoroughly trained and comfortable with utilizing the learning management system, because if by chance we did have to go all virtual, it will be important that everyone's able to move along successfully.
A new learning system implemented by your school system 30 to 45 days ahead of when school starts. Canvas is what you called it. That's the operating system's name.
Yes, sir.
Is that unusual to put something, I guess, that complicated in so close to the beginning of school? And are you getting any negative blowback on that from teachers, parents, et cetera?
I think that when we left school on March 13th to not return again, and all the things that we had to do on the drop of a dime, I think, there is no new normal as to what's the amount of time needed to implement something as enormous as Canvas. However, I will say that school districts across our country have certainly moved to these LMSs so that they can make sure that we are managing the learning process as best we can. I like to refer, there won't be normal anymore. This will be a new normal, and these are things that you will see that will be a part of our education system forever.
You said a minute ago, if we have to go back to all virtual learning, when do you have to do that? When one child's infected, when one teacher's infected? What's going to be the protocol for when, okay, back to all virtual learning for AC Steer or for the whole parish? What's the procedure for that?
Right. One thing I'll tell you, Aaron, is that I'm really excited that our governor early on did assemble a group of experts being from the Louisiana Department of Health, Department of Education, as well as looking at CDC guidelines to develop those guidelines that support school districts in making those decisions that are best for their community. Now, in that respect, if you look at our system, we have Tuesday released to our board and to our public as well our exposure guidelines, and that can be found on our website. And it's not as simple as saying one child is exposed, we close, or even a teacher. There are exposure guidelines that determine who are those people that are in close enough proximity to have to be quarantined. So to say the entire system would close, it would mean probably that the governor would change our phases, would probably be the result of that. Not necessarily has to be, but that's what the probable situation would be in our parish based on where we are today.
I don't know what the average daily absentee percentage or rate is in a normal school day, but I would imagine that if you've got more than half your students doing distance learning, that your absentee rate might even be higher. What are your thoughts on that? What do you anticipate, and what do you plan to do?
Well, really excited that my attendance and child welfare department now is researching, and everything's happening really fast, but we're really researching everything around what are those standards that we have to hold students and families to in order for us to give them presence for attendance. If you'll remember, one of the biggest flaws that was very appropriate at the time was the no harm policy that we adopted for academic grading in the spring. That no longer exists. Everything counts for a grade. You will be held accountable. So in that respect, we're working up that process, and we'll release that before school starts around what is necessary for you to qualify to get attendance credit while you're even at home. The kids that are coming to school, it's easy. You're here. But there will be some guidelines and qualifications, even if you're at home, for you to get presence for attendance. So I'm going to tell you, I think that could be good, and I think it could be bad, because you got to remember, when you're home, you're home. We have to find ways to create that level of seriousness about education, even in your living room or your bedroom.
Are you finding there are more or fewer problems with internet reception, internet hotspots, etc., i.e., what percentage of Caddo Parish students, if you know, that just don't have internet access on a regular basis, something they can depend on?
So I think we're going to do much better in that respect than we did in the spring, because we've had more time to study that. We've had more time to work with local providers. We've had more time to work with the city and to also begin conversations with the parish around what does that 100% high-quality broadband look like. So those conversations are in motion, and I do believe because of what happened in the spring, we have a very good idea of where we'll need to provide that additional support. We have really looked at working towards an equity officer in our district, which is repurposing a role of a person in our district around helping to make sure that we're getting the technology to families, as well as making sure that internet connectivity is in place. We do take responsibility for providing every child who chooses to do virtual education those tools that they need to be successful.
Okay, the contract the parents have to sign, what does that include? Am I pledging that I'll do 9 weeks of virtual learning? Can I hop back and forth? What am I signing to?
It's a contract. What are you giving them? What are they giving you?
Within our contract, we are asking families for a 9-week commitment. I think that's very important that we do that and we stick to that whenever possible, because of the importance of planning for social distancing and other things on the campus. So that will be a 9-month requirement. It would take an extreme situation for that not to happen. But that's what we're asking families for. We're also asking families for the commitment to understand that there will be some synchronous opportunities, and those are times when you'll have to be on the computer at a certain time. And we need them to understand that that's something that they're signing up for as well. Again, we will do everything we can to support families educating their children in what they feel to be the safest environment, but there are going to be some requirements of families that do choose virtual.
I have some nutrition questions. The food at school, are you going to feed the students in their classroom? Will they get pizza still? Will they get red beans and rice, or is it all going to be Sammy's and cold food? How's that going to work?
Right. And, I do think this is the perfect opportunity just to really say thank you publicly to Kay Lynch, our Director of Nutrition, and for everything that department did to really go above and beyond in March and April to feed our community. But you will still get hot food. Aaron, we're a school district of 60-plus schools, and how we do things is going to be different. I would tell you that 90% of the schools are probably going to eat in the classroom. We will provide the meals. There will still be hot meals some days. There'll be some Sammy days as well, though, but there will be mostly hot food. And again, one thing we did, even when we did the take-home food in March and April and May, was we still did provide hot meals. So we will still provide hot meals in the classrooms. Or sometimes it may be in the cafeteria.
What's
but
the
if
plan
it's
for
in the cafeteria? We have social distancing guidelines that we have to follow.
And the plan for those who are staying home, when will they pick up their meals? What's the plan for them?
I mean, you guys are really teeing me up today.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you're going to see is that there's a schedule that's developed, and those virtual families will be able to pick up meals on Friday for the next week. So you got to make sure that the kids don't eat all the chips over the weekend. But I will say this: really excited that our district has chosen to go to a full CEP district, and that means that everyone, all of our schools, will qualify for free meals. So that means with a school day in our parish, that includes a breakfast and a lunch.
One quick question, Doc, and we'll let you run. If anybody has any parent listening, if anybody has any questions, what do they do? Who do they call? What website do they go to?
Right. I would encourage them to go to our Caddo Parish website. We do have a link there around, the reopening plan for our parish. All of the information is listed there. We also have our Let's Talk communication application on there where they can send questions to different people. And, of course, your school principals have been amazing, and those are certainly some of the best sources for quick information. So just reach out, and we will provide you with an answer. And our goal is to open as safe as we possibly can and see a good school year.